Salam sejahtera and salam Malaysia Madani. I am Byron MC Michael Kadum and I was the winner for the 2025 USM 3 Minute Thesis competition for the social science category. I even had the honor to represent Malaysia to the Asia Pacific Level 3 Minute Thesis competition just before I finished my PhD and would be able to appreciate it. To the participants this year, shout out to all of you. I'm very sure you had fun making your 3-minute thesis video. All the best for this competition and just have fun. I believe that this year will be another fruitful year for USM, and all the best to the winners who will be representing USM to the national level. I hope this year 2026 will be the year Malaysia will get something from the Asia Pacific level. So all the best to all of you. Thank you very much.
Assalamualaikum and good morning to everyone. Welcome to USM Virtual 3-Minute Thesis Competition 2026. I'm Muhammad Adam Hafiz Ahmad from the School of Communication.
And I'm Nur Najwa Maisarah from the School of Languages, Literacies and Translation, USM.
We are honored to be your MC for this competition. So Najwa, how are you feeling about today's competition?
Well, Adam, this is actually my first time being involved in a 3-minute thesis competition. So I must say I'm excited to listen to the inspiring presentations from our excellent USM students from all around the world. I assume some of you are familiar with this competition as USM has hosted the same program in previous years.
Yes, Najwa, this year marks a decade of our 3MT competition. As in previous years, the event will be hosted virtually on two major social media platforms, which are through IPS YouTube and Facebook.
Wow! 3 minutes is a short time. What can you actually do in 3 minutes, Adam?
I think in 3 minutes, I can actually prepare a bowl of noodles. What about you, Najwa?
Well, I certainly wouldn't be able to have my beauty nap in 3 minutes. The fact that these contestants can condense and present their 300 pages long thesis in a short time is very impressive. Don't you think so, Adam?
Yes, Najwa, I agree. So we hope everyone will stay with us throughout the session. And don't forget to show your support for your school. Now, without further delay, I would like to invite the Dean of Institute of Postgraduate Studies, Professor Dr. Azlan Abdul Aziz, to deliver his welcoming remarks.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Distinguished guests, esteemed contestant of the 3-minute thesis competition. It is a true privilege to welcome you to the University Science Malaysia 3-minute thesis 3MT competition 2026. This remarkable annual event is organized by the Institute of Postgraduate Studies at USM with the esteemed support by the Malaysian Council of Postgraduate Deans. Thank you for gracing this momentous occasion with your presence, which makes this occasion even more meaningful and memorable. Ladies and gentlemen, the USM 3 Minutes Thesis Competition is a platform where brilliant doctoral minds converge from various fields and disciplines, each taking on the challenges of distilling their years of research into a powerful 3 minutes presentation to the appreciative audience. This competition also recognizes the pioneering effort of our doctoral research students in developing scientific and innovative solutions to a complex national and global concern, including climate change, food security, mental illness, corruption, and many others. For the Institute of Postgraduate Studies, this competition represents a significant academic platform for cultivating science communication competencies among students. It serves as a bridge between the specialized language of scientific literature and the practical realities faced by society, fostering mutual understanding between researchers and the public. Through this process, participants learn to synthesize and articulate complex research findings into narratives that resonate with real-world concerns. Ladies and gentlemen, today we gather virtually for the USM 3 Minute Thesis competition to witness our outstanding doctoral students convey the significance and impact of their research discoveries within a concise 3 minutes presentation. Building on the last year's participation of 45 amazing contestants, we are proud to see our 42 outstanding contestants competing across 3 major categories, namely engineering and technology, social science, and sciences. To all contestants, I wish you every success. Seize your 3 minutes to showcase the depth of your research and the originality of your solution. Make use of this platform to showcase not only the depth of your research, but also your ability to communicate with clarity, purpose, and passion. May this competition continue to nurture scholarly excellence, cross-disciplinary engagement, and a deeper appreciation of research that benefits society. Thank you.
Thank you to Professor Dr. Azlan Abdul Aziz for the encouraging speech. Well, everyone, before we move on to the competition, let me briefly introduce about 3-minute thesis competition, or known as 3MT. 3MT is a research communication competition founded by the University of Queensland, Australia in 2008. Briefly, this program challenged PhD students to present a compelling oration on their thesis topic and its significance in just 3 minutes. Although it is a short time, but for those who understand well enough about their research topic, they will be able to talk about their research in this short time. For this year, we have 42 participants and all of them are PhD students from various schools in USM. These 42 participants are further divided into 3 main categories, which are engineering and technology, social sciences, and lastly, in sciences category. All participants will be evaluated by 3 respected judges. Our first panel and also the chief jury is technologist Dr. Nur Azalia Kaburzaman from National Poison Center. Then, we have Associate Professor Dr. Chia Yuan from the School of Computer Sciences. Lastly, we have Dr. Marlina Jamal from the School of Languages, Literacies and Translation.
Okay, now I assume you have a brief idea about this program and also the judges. But how about the house rules? For this year, the rules are: firstly, the presentation is limited only to 3 minutes maximum. Presentations exceeding 3 minutes are disqualified. Secondly, the presentation is to be spoken only in words. For example, no poems, no raps, and no songs. Thirdly, the 3 minutes starts as the student commences either via movement or speech. And lastly, it is the same for all competitions where the judge's decision is final with no negotiation. Before we kick off today's exciting event, let's take a moment to review the impressive statistics of the University Science Malaysia 3-minute thesis competition over the years. This competition has continuously seen remarkable participation, and it's inspiring to witness the interest and enthusiasm from our talented postgraduate students. Do not miss the chance to win exciting mystery prizes. Here's how you can win. It's super simple. All you need to do is scan the QR code you see on your screen right now or click the link in the chat box below. Once you've done that, you'll be able to vote for your favorite participant from today's competition. That's right, you get to decide who takes the spotlight and who walks away with a special prize. But the real twist is, just by voting, you enter the draw for our mystery prize. The winner for this mystery prize will be contacted after the event, while People's Choice Award will be revealed at the end of the session. So make sure you stay tuned!
Now, ladies and gentlemen, let us begin our competition of University Science Malaysia 3-Minute Thesis Competition 2026 with the first category, which is the Engineering and Technology domain. The first one is from the School of Computer Sciences. Please welcome Altush Iman Salama Salim with her presentation entitled, Can We Detect Arab Fake News by Looking Only the Headlines? Everyone, please welcome Iman.
How many of us have seen a headline online and instantly thought, is it true? Is it with evidence? How many of us have shared it without verifying it first, just because it meets a specific thought, idea, or agenda? One click, one tiny tap can damage reputation, spread fear and anger, shake societies and shape decision. It's moving like a wildfire, and we all have seen that during COVID-19 pandemic, war in Gaza, Ukraine, and elections, and many other stories. According to studies, fake stories reach people faster than the truth, while the truth takes 6 times longer to reach 1,500 people. And around 59% of people said online they are worried about what's real against what's fake. So this is a global, but what if we are talking about Arabic language and its challenge, such as rich morphology, spelling variation, and dialects? So the big question here is, can we detect Arabic fake news by looking only at headline? Because headlines consist of short words, but these words are powerful, emotional, and backed with complexity. So that's what we did. We built AI model to do that. The results were good, around 77%, but it's not enough. So we went deeper to ask another question. What if we translate English data into Arabic, align it with Arabic headline? Would that improve our model? Knowing that Arabic language is a low resources language, there is not much data to train AI model. Also, there is a constraint and penalties on using this data. So that's exactly what we did, and we not a great improvement. Yet our work continues to analyze the linguistic and semantic features of Arabic headlines to understand why certain Arabic headlines look specious, feel believable and urgent, and how their internal pattern acts. So the takeaway is hopeful. Detecting fake news in Arabic headline is possible. AI model can act as early alarm system. And next time when you are online and you see a headline that trigger emotion, just wait, take one breath, ask one question: is it true? Is it with evidence? And don't share it unless it's true. And let research-driven AI to help and to support us and our communities. Thank you.
Thank you, Iman. Her research proposed detecting fake news in Arabic headlines used cross-lingual learning and AI models to analyze linguistic and semantic features, enabling early misinformation detection and supporting safer digital media. Good luck, Iman. Now, let's call upon Al-Hori Basim Muhammad Mahfud from the School of Chemical Engineering with his presentation entitled A Ciprofloxacin in Our Water. Al-Hori, the floor is yours.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Imagine a world where the water we drink is silently poisoned by the antibiotic we take. Every day, people consume drugs like ciprofloxacin, a powerful antibiotic, and a significant portions end up in rivers, lake, and even the water. This invisible threat can affect antibiotic resistance, harming both the environment and human health. So far, there is no effective method to remove the antibiotic like ciprofloxacin and water treatment plants. What's the solution then? That's why my research focuses on a smart solution, a coating adsorbent made from the bentonite clay activated by a green eco-friendly solvent called a deep eutectic solvents. That is mixture of marinic acid alkaline chloride. This coating adsorbent in coating cloth acts like a sponge, capturing superfluous skin from the contaminated water. And it is not just effective, it removes over the 96% of the antibiotic in a very short time. What makes this approach truly different is its simplicity and sustainability. Instead of using expensive material or complex treatment systems, we transformed a natural clay into high-performance water cleaner using a green solvent. The coating design means the adsorbent can be easily handled, removed, and reused. Additional, no filtration, no skin contribution, and no complicated equipment. This is still advanced water treatment from a laboratory concept into a practical, scalable, and ready for the real-world application. What's more exciting? This is not only one-time use. Our adsorbent strips can be regenerated using a simple dilute sodium hydroxide solution up to 10 times without losing their efficiency. That means we have a cost-effective, sustainable, and environmentally safe way to clean water, turning a complex chemical problems into a practical daily solution, supporting the SDG 6 goal, clean water and sanitation. In short, my one is helping to protect our water, our home, and our planets one teeny strips at a time. Thank you.
Thank you, Al-Hori, for an interesting talk. His research develops eco-friendly DES-activated bentonite coating adsorbent to effectively remove ciprofloxacin from water, achieving over 96% removal with rapid absorption and strong reusability for sustainable water purification. All the best, Al-Hori. Our next participant for the Engineering and Technology category is Ayorondu Gabriel Shimasaan, representing the School of Computer Sciences, with his representation entitled Continual Learning for Smarter Speech Recognition Systems. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Gabriel.
Ladies and gentlemen, imagine teaching a child to recognize words. How will you feel if the child understands you very well but forgets everything after learning new words? I think it's an experience no teacher would like to have. This is exactly the problem with artificial neural network models in general and end-to-end speech recognition systems in particular. This problem is called catastrophic forgetting. In this situation, the model performs well on the new task, but declines in accuracy on the previous task. Nowadays, pre-trained models are usually adapted and fine-tuned when they replace speech recognition systems for new languages and domains. Although the model will perform well on the new task, it may forget or decline in accuracy on the previous task. This issue is further compounded if the model is to be fine-tuned on multiple tasks in sequence. The most common approach in addressing catastrophic forgetting in neural networks is by merging the data sets from the previous task with the new task during fine-tuning. Now, back to my first question. How will you feel if the only way to make a child remember the words learned before is by repeating everything while teaching the new words? This must be very challenging. Our research, continual learning for smarter speech recognition systems, is like giving the model a memory. We leverage adapter modules which allows for task-specific fine-tuning without affecting the base model functionality to learn new tasks. To further enhance the model performance on the previous task, we introduce a gating network module on top of the adapter layer that will then classify output from each task-specific adapter, thereby enabling the model to learn continually without forgetting. With continual learning, we can build speech recognition systems that grow with us, understanding our voices and languages. In short, we are teaching speech recognition systems not just to be transcribing speech to text, but to keep learning, just like we human beings do. Thank you.
Thank you, Gabriel. Such an impressive talk. His study applies continual learning with task-specific adapters to prevent catastrophic forgetting in speech recognition models when adapting to different domains. So, Gabriel, I wish you all the best in your research. Now, we will proceed with Lo Heng Chuan, representing the School of Industrial Technology, with his research entitled Photosynthetic Microbes as a New Strategy for Plastic Degradation. The floor is yours.
Plastics are durable material that can persist for decades to centuries because of their strong polymer structure. Most microbial degradation research focuses on breaking the carbon backbone of plastics. However, carbon-targeted degradation is slow and cannot keep up with the global plastic accumulation. Without new strategies, we will soon be swimming in oceans of plastics. Interestingly, we observe cyanobacteria growing on plastic surfaces. Cyanobacteria are photosynthetic microbes. They do not rely on plastic carbon for energy. This raises an important question. Why are they colonizing plastics? For attachment? Maybe, or perhaps something more. That's why we hypothesize that they may be targeting phosphorus-containing additives in plastics. Many plastics contain phosphorus-based compounds that improve strength, flexibility, and fire resistance. If these additives were removed, the structural integrity of the plastics may be weakened. Imagine phosphorus as the glue holding plastics together. Remove it, and the structure starts to crumble. To test this idea, we collected soil samples from Signy Island, Antarctica, and screened for phosphorus-solubilizing cyanobacteria. These strains were selected because they tolerate extreme cold, yet grow at room temperature, making them adaptable for various environmental applications. Using phosphorus-selective agar plates, we identified strains capable of solubilizing phosphorus. When incubated with plastics, these microbes weaken the material over time. Microscopy revealed surface perforations, and chemical analysis showed a reduction of phosphorus content after incubation. These results suggest that phosphorus removal compromises polymer stability, potentially making plastic more susceptible to further microbial degradation. Our study provides the first evidence that Antarctica cyanobacteria can assimilate phosphorus from plastic material, weakening polymer structure and enhancing the potential for accelerated biodegradation. Harnessing photosynthetic microbes could transform plastic from a burden into something nature can finally handle. Thank you.
Thank you, Heng Chuan. His research showed that Antarctic cyanobacteria degrade plastics by targeting phosphorus additive, weakening polymer integrity, and offering a new strategy to accelerate microbial plastic breakdown. Heng Chuan, I look forward to your success. Next, we have Li Pei Fang, representing the School of Mechanical Engineering with her research entitled Transforming Compliance, the Hybrid Kaizen Kaikaku Revolution. Everyone, please welcome Li Pei Fang.
Imagine this, a compliance officer surrounded by files. Spreadsheet opens and deadline approaching, and the problems and only discover when after they happen. And the worst part, manual compliance is a burden to officers. There are no clear standardized auditing guidelines. Decisions often depend on individual judgments. It becomes subjective, inconsistent, and difficult to defend. This is not a scene from past. This is how compliance still operates. in many public sector organizations today. Compliance is reactive, paper-based, manual checking. Auditor downloads transaction and pair figures using spreadsheet. The process is slow, error-prone, and it heavily depends on human judgment. As transaction volume increase, the system becomes fragile. Compliance becomes an administrative burden instead of governance tools. So, how do we modernize compliance without losing control or trust? My research introduced a hybrid improvement pathway, not just digitalizations, not just improvement, but both working together. First, Kaizen, incremental improvement. We standardize template. We introduce structured digital tools. Verification time drops around 60%. The process becomes stable and consistent, but incremental change alone is not enough. This is where Kaikaku comes in. Radical transformations. Automation replaces repetitive manual checking. AI assists validations. Data is integrated and verified in real time. Manual workload drops about 70%. So incremental improvements build stability. Radical transformations build capability. Processing time falls from months to minutes. Risks are detected earlier. Accuracy improves. Digital audit trail strengthen integrity. But the biggest transformation is not technology. It is human. Officers no longer spend their time tallying numbers. They analyze risks, interpret patterns, support strategic decisions. Compliance shift from reactive and audit-driven to proactive intelligence and system-led governance. This research does not just improve efficiency, it offers a practical roadmap for public sector transformation from manual audits to intelligence governance, because compliance should not be about chasing error after they happen. It should be about building systems that prevent them. Thank you.
Thank you, Lee Pei-Fang. Her research integrates Kaizen Kaikaku principles with the digital automation and AI to transform compliance into real-time intelligent governance, while reducing workload and improving accuracy and offers strategic decision makers. I wish you all the best. Without further ado, let me introduce to you our next participant, Noor Asmilia binti Ishaq, from the School of Industrial Technology, with her presentation entitled Sustainable Papaya Juice Clarification, the Power of Immobilized Pectinous Alginate IPA Beads. Let's welcome Noor Asmilia.
Assalamualaikum. Good morning, everyone. Let me ask you something. Have you ever tried drinking fresh papaya juice and felt like you were drinking pulpy, jelly-like baby food instead of a juice? That thickness is caused by a pectin, a natural fiber in papaya. It's healthy, yes, but in industry, it creates a big problem. It makes juice too viscous, too cloudy, and expensive to process. And there's another challenge. Papaya rotten very fast after harvest. Within just a few days in tropical temperature, quality drop and spoilage begins. Industry solve this by turning papaya fruits into juice using pectinase enzyme. But here's the catch. Free enzymes are used once, then thrown away. Imagine buying a new washing machine for every wash. That is where my research begins. My solution is simple but powerful. I trap the enzyme inside a tiny food-safe beads from alginate. We called it immobilized pectinase alginate beads or IPA beads. Think of it like putting the enzyme inside a reusable tea bag. The enzyme still works, but now we can reuse it. And here's the exciting part. We achieve over 95% enzyme immobilization efficiency, meaning almost all the enzyme is successfully trapped and usable. Even better, the bead stays active for multiple reuse cycles, allow repeated juice processing. Now come the aha moment where we use this bead in papaya juice. pectin reduced from about 230 to 52 mg gal-AE per 100 ml papaya juice. That's a massive drop. Viscosity dropped by more than half, turning a thick papayas into a smooth, drinkable juice. And importantly, we preserve antioxidant quality, meaning nutrition is not sacrificed. But industry doesn't just ask, does it work? They ask, does it last? Our beets retains about 88% enzyme activity after storage, showing strong potential for real industrial processing and supply chain. So why does this matter? Because this is not just about papaya juice. This is about lower enzyme costs, more sustainable processing, clearer juice product, and scalable technology for tropical fruit industries, especially for countries like Malaysia, where our papaya fruit is abundant but underutilized and value-added processing is still growing. So next time you drink a papaya juice, remember it might not just be a juice, it might be enzyme engineering, sustainability, and industrial innovation inside one glass. Thank you.
Thank you, Asmilia, for your knowledgeable talk. Her research develops reusable enzyme beads to improve papaya juice processing by reducing thickness, preserving nutrients, and lowering production costs for the tropical fruit industry. Good luck for your research. Let us continue with the next presenter, Noor Farisha binti Muhammad Krishnan from the School of Computer Sciences with her presentation on the why smart device miss important human activities. Noor Farisha, the floor is yours.
Imagine an elderly person standing up from a chair for a few seconds, they lose balance. Nothing dramatic happened, but that small moment could be the warning sign before a fall. So, here is the question. Why do smart devices track our step but still miss the moment that matter most? Today, wearable devices can recognize walking, sitting, or running, but they often fail to detect short transition, the tiny movement between activities that carry real risk. The problem is not the technology, it is the way artificial intelligence learns. Most datasets are filled with common activities like walking, but very few examples of rapid or short movement because labeling is slow and expensive. AI systems become biased. They learn what happened most of the time and ignore what happened briefly. And in healthcare, missing a few seconds can mean missing something important. My research focused on one goal: to help smart devices understand human movement continuously, not just in a long chunk, but moment by moment. I aim to design a system that learns even when only a small portion of data is labeled, recognize rare and transitional action, and stay efficient enough to run on real wearable devices. Instead of asking, what is happening right now? My research asks, what is changing right now? The model analyzes movement as a continuous timeline. It learns patterns across time, allowing it to capture subtle transition, like standing up, slowing down, or shifting posture. At the same time, it's learned from both labeled and unlabeled data. This means we no longer depend entirely on expensive manual labeling. In simple terms, I am teaching wearable devices to understand the story of human movement, not just the headline. So, why do we need to track human activity, especially for the elderly? Because most critical moments are often the shortest one. By helping devices recognize rare and transition movement, my research moves us closer to safer healthcare monitoring and more intelligent assistive technology. Not just recognizing what we do most of the time, but understanding the moment that truly matter. Thank you.
Thank you, Farisha. Her research improved wearable sensor analysis to better recognize human movements, including brief transitions, enabling more reliable activity recognition in real world by learning from limited and unbalanced data. All the best, Farisha. Now, we will proceed with Nur Shafiqah binti Mat Zain, representing the School of Industrial Technology with her research entitled New Hope for Young Eyes, Nutrients that Reduce Digital Eye Strain. Please welcome Nur Shafiqah.
Assalamualaikum. Raise your hand if you have a phone, laptop, or a tablet with you right now. Have you ever felt like headache, tired eyes, or a blurry vision after using screens for a long time? Imagine that, not as an adult, but as a child. My research focuses on a growing but often overlooked problem called digital eye strain in school children. It's the physical and visual discomfort caused by prolonged screen use, and it doesn't just make children uncomfortable. It affects how they read, learn, and perform in class. When a child stops paying attention, we often call them distracted or lazy. But the truth is more heartbreaking. Their minds are willing, but their eyes have reached their limit. So I ask a simple question. How common is digital eye strain in children, and can we reduce its impact? I studied 811 children aged 10 and 11 across primary schools in Penang, Malaysia. What I found was concerning. Nearly 43% of these children suffers from digital eye strain. That's almost half of the classroom every single day. Identifying the problem is only the first step. My team and I wanted to know, can we protect children's eyes from screen fatigue? 71 children joined our clinical trial. We tested astaxanthin, a natural antioxidant found in marine organisms. Astaxanthin is remarkably powerful. 6,000 times stronger than vitamin C and 500 times more potent than vitamin E. But more importantly, it's one of a few molecules small and smart enough to cross the blood-retinal barrier. Once inside, it acts like a cooling sponge, soaking up stress and relaxing the tiny overworked muscle inside the eye. And the result, brilliant. After taking just 4 milligrams of astaxanthin daily for 6 months, the children's focusing ability improved by 13%, visual clarity through a pinhole improved by nearly 88%, and 14% improvement in spherical equivalent. Astaxanthin helps children's eyes feel less stressed and better focus and clearer vision with no side effect. I'm here not to ban screens. Screens are now part of education and everyday life. My goal here is to build evidence-based strategy and make digital world safer for children's eyes while protecting their vision, comfort, and quality of life. So the next time a child rubs their eyes or complains of a headache after a screen time, remember, their eyes may already be working too hard in a digital world designed for adults. And that is what my PhD is working to change. Thank you.
Thank you, Shafiqah, for such an insightful talk. Her research finds that daily astaxanthin supplementation improve visual function and reduce eye fatigue. I wish you all the best and look forward to your continued success. Moving on to the next, we will proceed with Siti Fauziah binti Sopyan, representing the School of Civil Engineering with her research entitled When Cracks Tell a Story, AI for Early Detection of Structural Damage in Heritage Buildings. The floor is yours.
Imagine standing inside a century-old mosque in Malacca or walking through a colonial building in Georgetown, Penang. You admire the craftsmanship, the history, the wall that have stood for over 100 years. Then you notice a small cracks. It seems minor, but maybe telling us something important. There are early indicators of structural distress. Not all cracks are the same. Some are horizontal, some are vertical, others form diagonal or step patterns. Each type reflects a different structural behavior and require a different engineering response. Malaysia is rich in heritage buildings, many of which are aging under environmental exposure. If early signs are overlooked, small cracks can develop into serious structural damage. And when heritage is lost, it cannot truly be replaced. Today, crack assessment relies largely on manual visual inspection. Engineers visit buildings, observe crack patterns, and interpret them based on experience. While valuable, this process is slow, subjective, and difficult to scale when monitoring many structures. Some little tools can detect whether a crack exists, but detection alone is not enough. Engineers need to know what type of crack it is. At present, there is no widely adopted automated system that can reliably classify multiple crack types in H building with high accuracy. In my research, I developed an AI-based system that learns from thousands of crack images. The system analyzes photos and automatically classifies 5 surface conditions: horizontal cracks, vertical cracks, diagonal cracks, stack cracks, and intact surfaces. It recognizes subtle differences in crack orientation and geometry, similar to how an experienced engineer would. The result, the model achieved 98% in detecting and classifying 5 crack types. This enables faster inspection, more consistent assessment, and early identification of such a risk before minor damage becomes critical. Because H buildings are not simply bricks and mortar, they represent our history, our identity, and the legacy we preserve for future generations. If crack tell a story, my research helps ensure that we listen early and protect that story for Malaysia and beyond. Thank you.
Thank you, Fauzia, for the informative research. Her research develops an AI-based system to detect and classify cracks in heritage mansory buildings, enabling early damage detection and supporting better maintenance decisions to protect historic structures for future generations. Alright everyone, please welcome the final presenter for this category, which is Zhang Chan from the School of Housing, Building and Planning. She will present about traditional village cultural landscapes, why authenticity matters differently to tourists and residents. Please welcome Zhang Chan.
Imagine a traditional village that has stood for hundreds of years. Its houses, riches, and landscape carry the generation of memory. Now, imagine it's become tourist destination. Tourists come and can rest, but the everyday cultural life quickly began to fade. This loss is often described as loss of authenticity. But what does authenticity really mean? For whom? In rural tourism, authenticity is key to visitor satisfaction and loyalty. But tourism brings serious challenge, overcrowded, cultural homogenization, limited engagement, and uneven heritage protection. The real problem is how authenticity is understood. Most research treat authenticity as a single concept and focus mainly on tourists. But in traditional village, residents and tourists experience authenticity really differently. Thus, difference can create the tension. Tourists seeking memorable experience and residents protecting everyday cultural life. After that gap, my research examined authenticity as a multidimensional concept and including residents and tourists. Data will be collected from 3 traditional villages in China through survey and interview. This study explored how different types of authenticity shape perceived value, place attachment, satisfaction, and loyalty. The results reveal clear difference. Residents tend to value objective authenticity, rally landscape, tangible heritage, and daily practice, which strengthens long-term loyalty. But tourists more influenced by constructive and essential authenticity, especially immersive and meaningful experience. Interesting, high expectation of authenticity sometimes can backfire. When tourist development fail to meet expectation, loyalty will be declined. Across both groups, perceived value is strong link to satisfaction and loyalty. Place attachment matters too, but effect is varies. This finding shows that one-size-fits-all tourist strategy don't work for traditional village. Understand residents and tourists perceive authenticity differently is essential for sustainability. This founding supposed SDG 11 by guarding sustainable heritage and tourism management. Ultimately, sustainability is not about just heritage or tourism, but about sustaining living communities. Thank you.
Thank you, Zhang Chan, for your enlightening presentation. Her research reconceptualized authenticity in rural tourism as multidimensional, showing that different authenticity perceptions influence satisfaction and loyalty among residents and tourists. I look forward to your success.
We will now move to our next category, which is social sciences category. But before we move on, it's good to share with everyone here that the top 3 participants from today's competition will represent USM at the national level. And those that won the national level will then represent Malaysia at the international level in Australia. Ladies and gentlemen, let's start the next category with our first participant, Farhana Intan from the Graduate School of Business. She will present her research entitled Local Government Budgeting Strategies and Rationalities During Crisis, a case study in Aceh local government.
Hi everyone! Let's imagine a building where people can see smoke. But the evacuation is only allowed after an official order confirms there is a fire. Until then, everyone must wait and follow procedures. So this is how crisis budgeting worked during COVID-19 in one Indonesian city that I studied. Local governments, especially in decentralized systems, are expected to respond quickly during emergencies. So we expect their budgets to be prepared for uncertainties, right? My research asked 3 questions: how local government budget actors recognize crisis, how this shapes budgeting decisions, and how spending is justified once a crisis arrives. I focus not on numbers, but on how budgeting decisions were reasoned and justified. So 3 patterns stood out here. First, crises were recognized through the past experiences. They were more familiar with crises caused by natural disasters, floods, earthquakes, fires, because they had experienced them before. So budgeting for potential crisis for them means anticipating for these type of crises. Second, local government officials believe allocating contingency fund is sufficient for crisis mitigation. What makes it complex, though, the disbursement of these funds is not immediate. It needs a declaration of emergency and other sets of procedures. So procedures here seem to matter more, especially given the fears of later audits. Third, a blurry decentralization. COVID-19 in Indonesia was declared as a national crisis, so the central government issued so many regulations on budget refocusing for local governments to follow. This prompted important tension here. Indonesia promotes local government's autonomy, but during such crises, that autonomy is somewhat blurry and heavily controlled. After the crisis, budgeting normalized with little reflection on preparing for future crises. So what does this tell us? When crisis recognition and budgeting decisions rely on precedent and authorization, budgeting becomes a tool for compliance rather than prevention. Meanwhile, crisis budgeting should serve as a mitigation to prevent a fire and as an evacuation system that allows action when smoke is visible, not only after the fire is officially confirmed. And that matters beyond Indonesia, because the next crisis will not wait for authorization. Thank you.
Thank you, Farhana, for the interesting presentation. Wishing you a great success. Next, let's welcome Hali Hongok from the School of Management with her research about different risk-taking decisions beyond the balance sheet.
Have you ever wondered why CEO of comparable firms in the same industry operating under identical market conditions but make different risk-taking decisions? One move for growth, the other hold back, not because the fundamentals differ, but because risk is perceived differently. This puzzle points to an idea. Financial decisions sit at the intersection of finance and psychology. Finance explains how decisions are made under risk, while psychology explains how risk is perceived. And because financial decisions are made by people, these two perspectives should not be separated. As William Faulkner once said, the past is never dead, it's not even past. Management theory often assumes that executives are rational decision makers. Psychology, however, tells a different story. Traumatic experience can change how individuals process under uncertainty. This influence does not disappear when someone puts on a suit and walks into the boardroom. It remains and quietly shapes judgment under uncertainty. Motivated by this insight, my research asks an important question. How do traumatic experiences shape managerial risk-taking? Using a large sample of CEOs, we find that managers who are exposed to more traumatic experience tend to take lower level of risk-taking. This does not imply that they are less ambitious or less effective. Rather, they just differ in how they perceive and evaluate downside outcomes. Importantly, our findings do not suggest that taking more or less risk is better or worse. Instead, we highlight a fundamental trade-off that different risk-taking approach may be more or less appropriate depending on the environment in which the firm are operating. This insight is particularly relevant in today's society, where the world is facing geopolitical conflict, pandemic, and climate risk. So leaders are also facing increasing uncertainty. So understanding why managers respond differently to the risk has never been more important. Overall, our findings suggest that if organizations seek a better understanding of managerial decision making, they should stop asking only, what experience does this manager have? And start asking, what experience shaped this manager? Because long before leaders decide how much risk to take, life has already shaped their risk-taking tendency. Thank you.
Thank you, Holly, for the presentation. Her study finds that different generational traumatic experiences influence CEOs' strategic change decisions, with higher exposure often leading to more cautious strategies depending on CEO power. All the best! We will continue with Wang Jinglei from the School of Arts. Her research entitled Digital Creativity Competence for Digital Content Creation among Digital Media Technology Students. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Wang Jinglei.
Many people today hear the word artificial intelligence and begin to question their own value. This anxiety is especially strong in fields centered on digital content creation. I first encountered this concept not as a researcher, but early in my career during my teaching practice with digital media technology major students. When artificial intelligence entered classroom discussion, students rarely spoke with excitement. Instead, they told me they feel increasingly uncertain about their future value as digital creators. At the time, what struck me was not their lack of technical ability. That students were highly proficient with tools, platforms, and digital workflows. The question was not whether they could use technology, but whether they clearly understood what they themselves contributed creatively with a digital environment. This question later became the focus of my doctoral research. What I found was not a lack of the creativity, but a very specific kind of it. That students tend to develop an efficiency-driven form of digital creativity, one that is highly effective, highly consistent, and remarkably similar across individuals. In this configuration, creative work is guided less by judgment and more by execution. What matters most is not creative choice, but whether tasks run smoothly and meeting external expectations. Everything works, but everything works by a linked creative decision with the same criteria. This form of the digital creativity performs well within the current higher education context, where students are trained to meeting predefined criteria and assessment requirements, yet it leaves a limited space for developing a creative agency, conceptual judgment, or long-term adaptability. This helps explain why artificial intelligence feels frightening when creativity is understood primarily as efficient execution. Automation appear as competitions. My research suggests that the real challenge is not technical replacement, but whether creative judgment is made visible and valued as a distinct form of the competence in digital education. Thank you.
Thank you, Wang Jinglei, for the interesting research. Her research is about assessing the digital creativity competency of digital media technology students in the AI era to guide improvements in education, employability, and job security. Good luck! Moving on to our next participant, Wang Tianli from the School of Housing, Building and Planning with her research on Beyond Automation, Designing for Positive Aging. Wang Tianli, the floor is yours.
Hello everyone. My research considered the impact of technology on aging in place in old adult. Today, many cities are rapidly building smart communities or smart home. Those projects promise better care for old adults through sensors, automation, and digital engagement. It sounds great, but in my research, I noticed a conflict. The more technology we add, the old adult may feel interrupted, monitored, or organized by the system. Instead of being supported, they may feel that their daily life control is being taken away. So the problem is not whether technology exists, but it improves how old adults live in every day. If we only measure technology adoption, we may misunderstand what really matters to them. What old adults care about is not simply using or reject the technology, but how it fits into the way they manage their lives. This research follows 3 steps. First, I observe daily behavior using 24 hours events log to see how old adults organize a routine at home and maintain control. Second, I understand their positive experience through interview and how ordinary activities such as cooking, walking, or charting supported their well-being. Third, focus groups are conducted with old adults. Participation design solutions take positive experience as a goal and autonomy as a negotiable conditions. For example, who decided when technology step in and how people can option out. This research turned autonomy from a slogan into a practical design experience. This research has 3 main contributions. First, it changes how we understand autonomy. It's not a feature, it's a condition that must be supported in daily life. Second, it offers a new direction for smart home. No more automation, but better alignment with everyday experience. Third, it provided planner and policymakers with a workable pathway, not only top-to-down management, but we can also introduce experience-based participations that adapt technology to real living practice. All of us will grow old one day. So the real question about the aging in place is not how advanced and convenient future technology will be, but it must understand how we utilize and coordinate technology. Thank you.
Thank you, Wang Tianli. Her research explains that aging in place depends not only on advanced technology, but on how effectively people use and coordinate it. All the best for your research! Coming up next is Zhu Niao, representing the School of Arts with the research entitled The Role of Artisans in the Georgetown World Heritage Site, Crafting Cultural Diversity Through the Negotiation of Identity, Interaction, and Creativity. Everyone, please welcome Zhu Niao.
Imagine yourself walking to a shop house in Georgetown. The space is narrow and deep. Above the entrance, an old shop signboard hangs quietly, slightly faded, writing in different languages, and has been there for decades. Near the doorways, an artisan sits on the chair. Sometimes he waves, sometimes he repairs. He works where people can see and talk to him. Behind him is not just a workshop, but a living space. Old photographs hanging on the wall. Tools passed down from earlier generations are still in use. This is a place where 3 generations have lived and worked under the same roof. As you stay there a bit longer, you begin to notice something subtle. The artisans shift the way he speaks depending on who walks in. With one customer, he uses Hokkien, with another, Malay, and with a tourist, English. The object on the counter stays the same, but the story around it changes. In that moment, you see, the identity here is not fixed. It is adapted and negotiated through everyday interaction. As you spend more time in the shop, you begin to notice something else. Materials changes with supply run out. Designs shift with new demands. Old techniques remain, but they are used in new ways. You start to realize that creativity here is not about inventing something new, but about working with what's already there. I remember one artisan once telling me, "If you stop changing, you stop moving forward," he said. But if you keep adapting, every moment of the work feels alive. For many people in Georgetown, this kind of shop feels familiar. It may be a place you passed every day, a shop where your family bought something years ago, or simply a place that has always been there as part of the city. What my research shows is that artisans are not just preserving culture. Through interaction, negotiation, and creativity, they are continuously making cultural diversity alive. In other words, cultural heritage in Georgetown is not something frozen in the past. It is something lived and recreated every day.
Thank you, Zilnao, for the interesting talk. Her research demonstrates that heritage continuity emerges through adaptive practices rather than static preservation. I wish you all the best in your research. Moving on, our final participant in the Social Sciences category, please welcome Zhang Mengyi from the School of Distance Education with her presentation titled, "Can You Afford to Be Good?"
Imagine you're running a company in China today. Budgets are tight, orders swing, and competitors slash prices to steer market share. But the pressure is not just financial. Banks look closely at your pollution and legal risks before approving loans. Major customers write labor standards into your contracts. Regulators and investors also expect you to act more responsibly. So one brutal question lands on your desk. Do you spend cash to be good, or do you save every penny to survive? To solve this conflict, you'll need a simple yardstick for what being good means. The yardstick is ESG. Put it simply, it measures how you treat the planet, your people, and your principles. But to a CEO in a price war, ESG isn't just a scorecard. It is a dilemma. Because for many leaders, doing better on ESG often feels like burning cash. And if profits are already thin, spending to be good feels like a losing bet. So my research tests that fear. I analyzed 6 years of data from about 5,000 Chinese listed firms, and I found a clear pattern. Generally, firms with stronger ESG tend to perform better financially. Cleaner operations bring fewer penalties, better treatment for workers leads to a lower turnover, clear rules and internal controls build trust with lenders and investors, so being good can build resilience, and the resilience can show up in profits. But my research reveals a twist. Not all goods pay the same. I found that competition pushes the payoff in different directions. When the market gets fierce, environmental upgrades tend to feel like a heavy anchor because they are expensive and pay back slowly. But the social side acts like a shield. Why? Because when pressure rises, a loyal workforce and trusted suppliers are not just nice to have, they are your survival assets. Yep, there's still one problem: trust. In a skeptical market, how do outsiders know you are truly doing good things, not just polishing the story? That is where digital transformation comes in. In the AI era, this is not scanning papers into PDFs, but embedding data and intelligent tools into daily operations, so actions are easier to check and harder to fake. Now, here's what I found. Digital transformation acts as an amplifier. It stresses the ESG payoff, especially when performance can be captured and checked. So back to the questions, can you afford to be good? My data from 5,000 firms says yes. And the bolder impact is that ESG stops being a one-size-fits-all slogan. Competition reshaped which part of responsibility creates value, while digital transformation stress how that value is delivered and trusted. Let's turn being good into strategy rather than sacrifice, shifting from cost into rewards.
Thank you, Zhang Menyi, for the interesting research. Her research finds that stronger ESG practices can improve the financial performance of Chinese listed firms, particularly when supported by market competition and digital transformation. Good luck with your research! That brings us to the end of the social sciences category. We will take a short break and we'll be back shortly to continue with the sciences category.
Now let's shift gear and move on to our last sciences category. In this category, we have 26 exciting participants ready to present their research findings. Now, let's call upon Abu Hurairah Darwish bin Alias from the Analytical Biochemistry Research Center with his presentation entitled From Kitchen to Science, Breaking the Metabolic Wall Using Bunga Lawang Polysaccharides.
My name is Abu Hurairah, and I have a question for you. Do you have any friends or family members living with obesity, hypertension, or diabetes? Globally, 1 in 8 adults live with obesity, 1 in 3 has hypertension, and more than 800 million people living with diabetes. These are not separate problems. When excess fat builds up, it disrupts hormones, blood vessels, and metabolism. Thus, as obesity rises, the risk of hypertension and diabetes rises with it. So, the real question is, how can we break the wall of obesity, hypertension, and diabetes? That is what my research tries to answer. I study star anise, known in Malaysia as bunga lawang. Inside this spice are polysaccharide, which are natural sugar-based polymers that can reduce oxidative stress, block fat digestion, and many more health benefits. The problem is how we extract them. Conventional extraction uses strong acids, produce hazardous waste, and give low yields. So I ask one question. Can we extract polysaccharides in a greener way and make them more effective for health? To solve this, I combine two green technologies. First, I developed novel deep eutectic solvents or DES using food-grade citric acid and natural alcohols. They are safe, biodegradable, and recyclable. Second, I use a microwave extraction method, not for cooking, but to rapidly and efficiently extract polysaccharides from plant cell walls in under 5 minutes. And it works. The extraction yield increases, and it could also modulate the structure and functions of the polysaccharide. I optimized 6 fractions, targeting antioxidant, anti-obesity, antihypertensive, and anti-diabetic effects. One fraction, for example, inhibited 94% pancreatic lipase, showing anti-obesity performance comparable to pharmaceutical drugs, but derived from natural source with low cytotoxicity. But how do they work? My molecular docking show that polysaccharides bind to enzymes, like blocking a keyhole, so the enzyme can no longer function. Hence, what did this research really produce? It created a pathway from a traditional kitchen spice to potential nutraceutical products targeting for obesity, hypertension, and diabetes. This work directly supports global efforts toward SDG 3 through safer and sustainable solutions. So, ladies and gentlemen, I leave you with one final question. What if the solution we have been searching for is not hidden in high-tech laboratories, but has been sitting quietly on our own kitchen all along? Thank you.
Thank you, Abu Hurairah. His research develops a green extraction method to obtain bioactive polysaccharide from star anise bunga lawang with strong health promoting potential such as strong antioxidant, anti-obesity, anti-hypertensive, and anti-diabetic potential, and sustainable nutraceutical applications. All the best, Abu Hurairah. Next, let's welcome Abu Tawahina Momin SM from the Institute of Nano-Optoelectronics Research and Technology with his research about fabrication of high-performance gallium nitride-based ultraviolet photodetectors with plasmonic enhancement.
Assalamu alaikum and good morning everyone. Today I will talk about the fabrication of high-performance gallium nitride-based ultraviolet photodetector with the plasmonic enhancement. So imagine if we live in a world where an invisible enemy attacks us every day. Here in Malaysia, our sun is beautiful, but it's hold a dangerous enemy. It's ultraviolet radiation. This ultraviolet radiation have 3 bands, UVC, UVB, and UVA. The UVC absorb 100% in the ozone layer, and UVB 10% arrive to the air, and that's leading case of skin cancer and eye damage and pore and wrinkles. But the problem is not in the radiation itself, it's in our UV photodetector. The principle of UV photodetector to convert the sunlight to the signal electricity, and the traditional UV photodetector are slow and weak. So in my PhD research, I decided to combine nanomaterial with nanotechnology. So we faced our problem statement, the weakness of UV photodetector and unoptimized silver nanoparticle in the synthesize, and dark current was high in the visible light. So to solve this problem, we synthesized a small silver nanoparticle by using pulse laser ablation. This method, top-down approach, we call it green synthesize, and this method is cost effectively to save money and save time and eco-friendly because this synthesized without any material, chemical material, and without any toxic. So this silver nanoparticle as a smart antenna or light amplifier to enhance UV photodetector to absorb more light and increase the efficiency 10 times, and to reduce the visible light we using electron beam for deposit metal oxide as gallium oxide and aluminum gallium nitrate to reduce UVA and more absorbance for UVB. As we can see in the picture, the gallium nitrate have a wide band gap and can work in the harsh environment in different applications. As we can see in the result after synthesized silver nanoparticle, we see the distribution size in the picture is uniform. Now imagine our children have a watch in their wrist that instantly warn them of the sun dangerous or the system in our car or our hospital and our factories. We in Malaysia have the sun, and through my research we have the UV photo detector to protect our Malaysian family from it. I believe that the science is only complete when safe and improve the life. And today we are placing this invisible UV photo detector in your hand. Thank you and Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you, Momin, for the knowledgeable talk. His study developed gallium nitride-based ultraviolet photodetectors enhanced with plasmonic silver nanoparticles to improve light absorption and device performance for advanced UV sensing. Best wishes to you, Momin. Alright, everyone. Please welcome Al-Janabi Ali Talib Kas from the School of Physics with his research title, Radiation Concentration in Placenta, Measuring Placenta Radioactivity in Post-War Iraq.
Assalamu alaikum and hello to everyone. After the war in Iraq, radioactive contamination has become a hidden threat to public health, especially to unborn children. My PhD research focused on measuring radiation activity in placental tissue collected from different Iraqi governorates. The placenta is an amazing organ. It grows with the baby and provides everything the baby needs to develop safely. But if the environment is contaminated, the placenta can also absorb radioactive materials, which may affect the baby health before birth. To study this, I used two main detection methods. First, a simple and low-cost solid-state nuclear track detector, CR39, which can record alpha particle from uranium and other isotopes with high accuracy. Second, the high-purity germanium gamma spectroscopy method, which showed the presence of radioactive element inside placental tissue. The test revealed the presence of radioactive element, including isotopes such as Bi-214, Pb-214, and K40, and show a high concentration of uranium in the placental tissue of infants born with congenital malformation. This type of examination can be used anywhere in the world to assess radiation-related condition of the fetus and possible effects on its development, since natural radiation also exists in soil, mountain, and other energy sources. In this work, aim to include radiation examination as an essential test to protect human health, not relying only on traditional biological tests. This research gives us scientific evidence that post-war radioactive pollution can silently affect mother and infant, and highlight how even a simple nuclear detector can help monitor environmental and public health risk effectively. Thank you.
Thank you, Al-Janabi, for delivering such an informative presentation. His research highlights the need to include radiation testing to detect post-war radioactive pollution that can silently affect maternal and infant health. Look forward for your success. Now, let's call upon Amin Abdurrahman bin Abdurrashid, representing School of Medical Sciences, with his presentation entitled A Telomeres Gene Switch, a Cancer Therapy.
Cancer is one of Malaysia's leading cause of death. And nowadays, we feel like getting cancer is not a question of who, but rather the question of when. So decades of research have helped us to better understand cancer. And one characteristic that all cancer cells have is the ability to continuously divide, what we term as replicative immortality. So how does cancer cells actually achieve this feat actually? So the cancer cells achieve this by maintaining a structure known as telomeres. So I like to imagine telomeres as the plastic tips of our shoelaces, which protects our shoelaces from becoming frayed, from becoming untangled, from becoming damaged during the process of cellular division. So in normal cells, These plastic tips will actually shorten with every step of cellular division. And this is really important because when it becomes too short, the cells will activate a mechanism known to self-destruct. And this is really important because it avoids the cells from going haywire. However, in cancer cells, they continuously maintain these plastic tips by producing a special enzyme known as telomerase. And this is really problematic because when they maintain these plastic tips, it means the cancer cells have the continuous ability to divide, and where with every step of cellular division, the cells will undergo changes, the cells will attain new mutations, and this is what leads to cancer. So my PhD focuses on how actually cancer cells attain this ability. I try to understand the molecular switches similar to how a light switch turns the light on and off. My study focuses on how the molecular switches turn the telomerase production and telomere maintenance on and off. So why is my study important? Because if we can better understand how cancer cells turn these switches on, we can learn also how to turn these switches off. We have known many people in our lives who have been touched by cancer, and it does feel something unstoppable. But with a better understanding of this mechanism, we can help the patients. We can produce targeted therapies to actually target these cancer cells. And with each step that we move forward, we can fight cancer at its core. Thank you.
Let's give a well-earned round of applause for that extraordinary presentation. Thank you, Amin, for sharing your valuable research with us. Your insights are truly inspiring, and we can all appreciate the dedication and hard work that went into this study. Once again, a big round of applause for Amin. We will continue with Ayagari Ramlal from the School of Biological Sciences. His research entitled LED Assist Micropropagation Metabolite Profiling and In Silico Analysis of BBX and Melatonin Biosynthetic Genes in White Strawberry or Pink Bell F1. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Ayagari.
Strawberries are microclimatic crops. They do not grow in extreme environments, which means the yield decreases as they encounter stress. Due to the equatorial climate, they are considered a relatively new crop in Malaysia. The cultivation is labor intensive with low yields, making them premium and affordable crops. Strawberries contain various bioactive and nutritive compounds and possess pharmaceutical abilities for treating various ailments such as cardiovascular diseases and neurodegenerative disorders. Traditional breeding methods are tedious and also lead to bottlenecks. These issues can be addressed through in vitro methods, which minimize loss of genetic variation. Therefore, there is an urgent need for in vitro approaches as there are no standardized protocols yet. This project revolves around four dimensions: seed germination and micropropagation involving light emitting diodes, in silico drug designing, and bioinformatic approaches to identify melatonin and germination related gene homologs in the pink bell white strawberry. Achene germination is a crucial stage, marking the establishment and beginning of a new life. It usually takes between 4 to 12 weeks. Several factors influence this process. Here, the process of germination was studied, and a new term, seed consciousness, was coined. And it was also suggested that seed germination must be revisited. Following that, a successful protocol for micropropagation was established using LEDs. Deaths caused by CVDs worsen each year. The primary cause is hypertension, which affects vital organs. The renin-angiotensin system regulates and maintains homeostasis of the cardiovascular system, normalizing blood pressure. One component of the RAS is the angiotensin converting enzyme. The ACE inhibitors cause skin rashes, headaches, and other serious problems. Therefore, it is important to find alternative compounds having no or reduced side effects with high efficiency. Strawberry compounds have proved to be better alternatives. Melatonin and serotonin play a functional role in achene germination and biomass production. A few studies have examined their roles in plants and in vitro conditions. Similarly, transcription factors are important gene regulators involved in growth and metabolism, such as zinc finger proteins. The BBX proteins are a subfamily of zinc finger and play various roles, including germination and dormancy. Here, 20 melatonin and serotonin genes and 19 BBX genes were identified. Further, their role in vitro shooting, rooting, and germination can be further investigated to maximize efficiency and production. Thank you.
Thank you, Ayagari, for a very interesting talk. His research studies strawberry cultivation in Malaysia by exploring seed germination, micropropagation with LEDs, and bioinformatic identification of melatonin and germination-related genes in pink bell white strawberry. I wish you all the best. Coming up next is Banafi Azizah Ahmad M, representing Pusat Cancer Tun Abdullah Ahmad Badawi with her presentation entitled Credentialing for Standard Precaution of Infection Control. Banafi, the floor is yours.
Imagine you are nurses on a busy hospital ward. Now imagine it's the peak of the pilgrims season. Patient number rise. The pace accelerated, and every small mistake become more dangerous because in a hospital, one missed hand hygiene moment can become an infection outbreak. My research asks a simple question: can a short, structured infection control training program measurably improve how nurses think and act when it matters most? I study a national program called Pixel delivered to the nurses across 5 public hospitals in Mecca during high pressure period when infection prevention is critical. I use before and after design. We assist nurses' knowledge, attitude, and practice using a validate questionnaire. And 360 nurses completed both the pre-training and post-training assessment. So what's happened after training? First, knowledge improved. Nurses scored high in understanding infection prevention principle. Second, attitude improved. That matters because attitude drives behavior. Third, and most important, practice. Practice improved. After training, nurse reported better real work behavior. But here is the key point. Training alone is not enough if the system makes the right behavior hard. When we ask nurses what blocks infection control practice, the top barriers were staff shortage, lack of the time, limited sources. So my thesis does not just say training works. It's answer big question. How do we make training stick? Based on the findings, I recommend practical upgrade. 1. Deliver training in short, remind micro-learning module. Build reminder into daily workflow. Protect time for participation. Pixel training improve nurse in CAP, but sustainable infection control requires organization support to remove barriers and reinforce behavior over time. My name is Aziza Banafi, and it's how we strengthen infection prevention where it matters most at the bedside. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Banafi, for a very impressive talk. This research BICSL improve nurses' infection control competencies but lacks a national monitoring system to ensure consistent and sustained quality improvement. Good luck, Banafi. Now, let's call upon Dasi Ong binti Yakut Ong from Analytical Biochemistry Research Center. Her research entitled Frog Skin Chemistry as an Environmental Indicator. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear from Dasi Ong.
When I was young, my father always said, if there's frog, the place must be clean. But as a kid, I believed that until one day I asked myself one question. Yes, frogs are always there, but are they actually okay? Are they happy or are they stressed and just not complaining? That question followed me for ages until one day it became my page. Hi everyone, my name is Tasi Ong Betty Yakut Ong from the Analytical Biochemistry Research Center USM. I study frogs, but not like what you think. It's not how they jump or how they sing at night. I study their skin. Yes, frogs' slimy skin because frog skins are amazing. Yes, I know it's cold, it's slimy, and yes, it's very sensitive, especially when the environmental changes, such as dirty water, pollution, human activity, frog skin reacts. And when it reacts, it releases tiny chemicals. Those chemicals are like WhatsApp messages from the frog. So, my big question is simple. Can frog skins tell us what the environmental is going through? To find out, I studied small green frog called Hyena evidue. It's very common frog. It can also be found in USM lakes, but its skin tells stories. I collect skin fission from frogs living in different places around Malaysia, some cleaner and some more disturbed. Don't worry, the frogs were safe and happily released back into their homes. Then I analyzed the chemicals. In simple words, I was reading and deciphering frog messages. So, what did the frogs tell me? Frogs from stress place showed stress chemicals, which means more defense, more protection. While frogs from healthier places showed calm, stable chemistry. Same frog, different environment, different story. This means frog skin does not just react to one day, it remembers long-term environmental stress. Why this is important? Because frogs are early warning system. When frogs are stressed, the environmental is already in danger. My research shows that skin chemistry can be a natural alarm system, gentle, fast, and yet powerful. So maybe the saying needs an update. It's not just if there's frog, the place is clean. It should be the forest speaks, the frogs are its voice, asking us to raise and respond. Thank you.
Thank you, Dasi Ong. Her study explored analyzed chemical signals from frog skin to assess environmental health. These signals act as early warnings of pollution or ecosystem stress. It highlights the need to protect fragile ecosystems before serious damage occurs. Wow, very interesting. I wish you all the best. Next is from School of Biological Sciences. Please welcome Fatin Fadilah binti Muhammad Kamaruddin with her research entitled MAD, Mango Anthracnose Disease.
Do you think only humans can get mad? Plants can also get mad, but in a very different way. Have you ever experienced going to the supermarket? You bought a healthy and spotless mango, keeping it at home, and after a few days when you want to eat the mango turns spotty like this. MAD in this case refer to mango anthracnose disease. Mango is one of the most important fruit crops in Malaysia and other tropical countries, while mango anthracnose disease is the most destructive mango disease worldwide. This disease can infect several parts of mango plants, including the flower, the leaves, and of course, the most important parts of mango, that is the fruit. So what actually happens? The causal agent of this disease is almost invisible by the naked eyes, but you can see the sign and symptom of the infection on the fruit. They appear as black sunken spot, which sometimes appear with white thread-like strands. These are the pathogen, the one causing the disease. If you take a small piece of the black spot and place it on a fungal special growth media, you will be able to see colorful fungal colonies growing. When you want to look closer, you will need a microscope. Under the microscope, you will get to see the hidden structures of the fungi, including the thread-like structures of the mycelia, looking like a spider web, and the tiny seed-like structures of the conidia. These pathogens belong to a complex group of fungi, mostly from the genus or the group Colletotrichum. For example, Colletotrichum fruticola, Asianum, and Simense. On the other hand, infections can happen before harvest, and the fungi can stay in the fruit as a latent pathogen. A latent pathogen means the fungi are present inside the fruit, but they do not produce any visible disease. So as a plant pathologist or plant doctor, my role is to diagnose which species of these complex fungi are responsible for this disease, and I will be able to identify how this disease starts and develops. With that, a plant doctor can help in the development of effective fungicide and biocontrol agent. Then, farmers can use these products to control the disease in their plantation and reduce the crop loss. Thank you.
Fatin, thank you for delivering such an informative talk. This research examined a severe mango plant disease caused by microscopic fungi. The disease can cause widespread damage and disrupt crop production. The study aims to diagnose the disease and help farmers manage it effectively. All the best for your research. Next, let's welcome Fazalda bin Anwar, representing School of Medical Sciences, with his research entitled Bunga Kantan, Potential as Anti-Hypercholesterolemia. Fazalda, the floor is yours.
Hi everyone. Did you know that nearly 1 in 2 adults in Malaysia has high cholesterol or hypercholesterolemia? This condition is a major contributor to cardiovascular diseases, including myocardial infarction or heart block, which remain leading causes of death globally. Statins are the most commonly prescribed drugs to lower cholesterol. They're effective, but often come with unwanted side effects such as muscle pain and weakness. This raises an important question. Can we find a safer alternative treatment with fewer side effects, preferably from natural sources? So, ladies and gentlemen, this question led me to study Kantan, scientifically known as Ethylengera elatea. This tropical plant is not only a familiar ingredient in our local cuisine, but also highly valued for its medicinal and cosmetic application. Amongst many parts, the flower or bunga kantan is the most widely consumed and studied. Previous studies have shown that bunga kantan extract possesses antioxidants, anti-inflammatory, antibacterial, antidiabetics, and cholesterol-lowering properties. However, despite these promising findings, the mechanism of action remained unclear. Therefore, this study had 3 main objectives. First, to determine whether the extract can reduce high cholesterol. Second, to investigate whether it can reduce oxidative stress and inflammation, 2 key contributors in the pathogenesis of myocardial infarction. And third, to explore whether the extract can inhibit enzymes involved in cholesterol biosynthesis in the liver. To achieve this, the extract was prepared using sonication-assisted extraction, and its phytochemical properties were evaluated. Rats were fed with high cholesterol diet for 6 weeks and treated with and without the extract for another 6 weeks. To mimic myocardial infarction, rats were injected subcutaneously with isoprenaline, a beta-adrenergic agonist, for 2 consecutive days. Rats treated with extract showed significantly lower level of cholesterol, inflammatory, and oxidative stress markers compared to the rat without treatment. Remarkably, the histology of the heart tissue in treated rats was comparable to the healthy control. In conclusion, this study demonstrated that bunga kantan extract lowers cholesterol and reduces the risk of developing myocardial infarction by targeting inflammation and oxidative stress markers. Our next step is to evaluate whether the extract can inhibit enzymes involved in cholesterol biosynthesis. This study suggests that bunga kantan has therapeutic potential in lowering cholesterol, protect the heart, and creating new economic opportunities for local farmers by increasing demand for these valuable plants. Thank you.
Thank you, Fazalda. His research focused on the bunga kantan extract helps lower cholesterol and protect the heart. It reduces inflammation and oxidative stress. It may serve as a natural treatment for cardiovascular disease. I wish all the best. Next, Please welcome Hana binti Muhammad Husaini from the School of Educational Studies with her research about rewiring the future of genetics education. Without further ado, please welcome Hana.
Rewiring the future of genetic in education. Good morning. Imagine you are 18 years old sitting in a matriculation biology class. On the screen, Punnett square, aliens, recombinant frequency. You copy the notes. You memorize the step. You hope it will be enough. But in the final examination, 80% of the students fail to identify linkage correctly. They confuse incomplete dominance. They miscalculate genetic inheritance. They memorize, but they do not truly understand. And this is more than a classroom issue. Genetic inheritance is the language of life. It underpins medicine, cancer research, biotechnology, and food security. If students cannot grasp genetics, we are not just losing marks, we are losing future scientists, doctors, innovators. So I ask a different question. What if the problem is not the student, but the design of learning itself? Neuroscience tells us something powerful. The brain is not fixed. It rewires itself through experience, through repetition, through meaningful challenge, through relevance. This is neuroplasticity. Yet most teaching methods are not designed around how the brain actually changes. At the same time, we promote STEM integration, digital learning, and student autonomy, but these often exist in isolation, rarely integrated into one coherent brain-informed system. That is the gap my research addresses. I developed a neuro-STEM mobile learning module that integrates neuroplasticity principle, STEM problem solving, mobile self-excel learning, and motivational design using Keller ARCS model. Students do not just listen, they practice through spaced repetition, they solve authentic genetic problems, they revisit complex concepts, they engage repeatedly, strengthening neural pathway for durable understanding. To evaluate the effectiveness, I conduct a quasi-experimental study with matriculation students in northern Malaysia. I measured three outcomes: achievement, engagement, motivation. Because understanding without engagement is fragile, engagement without motivation is temporary. But when all three rise together, transformation happens. This research is not just about a module. It is about redesigning science education based on how the brain learns. If the brain can rewire itself, why are we still teaching as if it cannot? When we align pedagogy with neuroplasticity, integrate STEM meaningfully, and empower students through mobile learning, we do more, improve score. We build thinkers, we build resilient, we build future scientists who truly understand the science of life. Because when we change how students learn genetics, we are shaping the inheritance of knowledge itself. Thank you.
Thank you, Hana, for your enlightening presentation. Her study creates a NeuroSTEM mobile module for learning genetic inheritance which combine brain-based learning, STEM methods, and self-directed study. It aims to enhance students' performance, engagement, and motivation. Wishing you the greatest success, Hana. Let's keep the momentum rolling by inviting the next participants, Hassan Minul from Pusat Cancer Tun Abdullah Ahmad Badawi, with his presentation entitled, Is Our Rice Safe? Hassan, the floor is yours.
Assalamualaikum everyone. I am Mainul Hassan from University Science Malaysia. Today, I want to ask you a question that affects every one of us. Is our rice safe? In Malaysia, rice is not just food, it is life. On average, one person here consumes 121 kg of rice every single year. But here is a silent threat lurking in our field. Carcinogenic and neurotoxic organophosphate OPPs are pesticides widely used in modern agriculture. However, exposure to OPPs can cause genetic mutation that may trigger cancer and disrupt the human nervous system. Here, there is a critical lack of information regarding OPPs residue in rice consumption, especially here in Penang. We simply don't know the extent of risks we are facing. Organophosphate pesticides are classified by International Agency of Research on Cancer (IARC) as possible carcinogens. Exposure can lead to brain, breast, kidney, ovary, prostate cancer, and leukemia. To solve this, we are introducing an innovation we call green magnet. This technique uses magnetic nanoparticle with deep eutectic solvent gel. This green magnet has a uniform stable coating that provides high absorption to trap even the tiniest trace residue of pesticide. It is entirely eco-friendly, biodegradable, and non-toxic. We will use this magnet in a process called magnetic solid phase extractions. We can achieve fast separation without the leaching issue found in older method. Most importantly, it replaces the toxic solvent usually required in traditional chemical analysis. The impact of this research are we are developing a novel green method that is more effective than existing technique. We will be able to quantify the acute health risks associated with rice consumption for the population of Penang. This provides the data-driven guideline needed for better food safety regulation. Our goal is simple: green innovation for safer rice. Thank you.
Big thanks, Hassan, for those valuable insights about the assessment of pesticide residues in rice and the related potential health risks. Wish you all the best. Next up on the stage, we have Jacqueline Makake from School of Pharmaceutical Sciences to present her research about breaking up a relationship disrupting protein interaction that drive Epstein-Barr virus associated nasopharyngeal carcinoma. Let's roll all a red carpet for Jacqueline.
Over 90% of us carry the Epstein-Barr virus or EBV. For most, it remains harmlessly dormant throughout our lives. But for some, this common virus becomes a deadly trigger, causing cancers like nasopharyngeal carcinoma, which is particularly devastating. Despite aggressive treatment with radiotherapy and chemotherapy, the 5-year survival rate is just 45%. But here's the cruel irony. The very virus that causes this cancer also sabotages our attempts to treat it, making standard therapies far less effective. So how does EBV accomplish this? The virus produces a protein called EBNA1. Think of it as the virus's chief operator. EBNA1 does not work alone. It recruits our own cellular proteins, turning them into accomplices. Together, these hijack partnerships drive cancer cell survival, promote tumor growth, and create resistance to treatment. Current therapies attack the cancer cells, but they have off-target effects and don't address this fundamental viral mechanism. This highlights the need for a smarter approach, one that targets the root cause. My research tackles this problem at its source by disrupting the partnership between EBNA1 and our cellular proteins. Here's how it works. We design competitive peptide inhibitors. These are short protein sequences that act as molecular decoys. These peptides mimic EBNA1's binding interface, competing for the same interaction sites on our proteins. By occupying these binding sites, our peptides block EBNA1 from recruiting these proteins, effectively dismantling the virus's support network. The results are striking. Our lead peptide demonstrates potent, significant growth inhibition against EBV-positive cancer cells with minimal toxicity to normal nasopharyngeal cells. This selectivity is crucial. It means we can target the cancer precisely without the collateral damage that plagues conventional chemotherapy. Now, we still have a long way to go before this reaches patients, but we've shown a proof of concept that protein-protein interactions can be therapeutically targeted, and that by disrupting the specific interactions between viral and human proteins, we can selectively eliminate cancer cells. This approach represents a paradigm shift in treating virus-associated cancers. For patients with nasopharyngeal carcinoma, this could ultimately mean more effective treatment with fewer devastating side effects. My research charts a path towards treating cancer at its viral roots while preserving patients' quality of life, transforming EBV from the lead cause into the cancer's Achilles heel.
That was a brilliant presentation about Epstein-Barr virus can lead to cancer. It helped tumors grow and resist treatment. New molecular decoys can target and kill infected cancer cells safely. We wish you all the best for your research. Now, let's welcome Lin Pei Ching from School of Pharmaceutical Sciences to present efficacy and usability of mobile application in enhancing diabetes management. Lim, show us what we've got.
Today, I'll be sharing my research on diabetes management. Diabetes is not just a disease, it is a daily decision-making battle. Every meal, every stressful moment, and every missed dose can change blood glucose levels. Yet, in public healthcare facilities, patients may only see their doctors once every few months. This raises an important question. How can healthcare teams effectively manage daily disease with only occasional clinic visits? My research explores one promising answer using a tool that most of us already own, a smartphone. We examine the real-world impact of mobile applications on diabetes management, and our findings shows measurable and clinically meaningful improvements in outcomes. Mobile applications provide convenient access to education, self-management resources, and real-time communications with healthcare professionals, enabling timely support throughout daily lives rather than only clinic visits. However, in Malaysia, awareness and adoption of these applications remain low, and most local applications have been evaluated mainly for usability rather than clinical effectiveness. Understanding the barriers to acceptance and sustainable use is therefore essential. First, we explore the perspective of both healthcare professionals and patients using semi-structured interview to better understand the needs, expectations, and barriers to adopt this digital technology. Guided by their insights, a newly developed mobile applications featuring a simple interface, multilingual support, interactivity, and structured educational content was evaluated through a randomized control trial. The results were encouraging. Compared to standard care, the intervention group showed significant improvement in blood glucose control and knowledge, high usability and satisfaction, as well as reduction in systolic blood pressure and triglyceride levels. So what does this mean? Mobile health applications are not just convenient, they can be clinically effective and extend care beyond the clinic, support patient-centered care, and help bridge gaps caused by healthcare workforce shortages. In conclusion, this thesis provides strong evidence that well-designed mobile application can effectively complement standard diabetes care and improve long-term outcomes. As healthcare continues to evolve, mobile health applications bring care closer to the patients every day, everywhere. Thank you.
This study evaluated a mobile app designed to support diabetes self-management. It improved communication gaps between patients and healthcare providers. The app enhanced glycemic control, knowledge, usability, and overall health outcomes. All the best. And now we finish the first round of the sciences category. We will have a short break before continuing to our second round.
Making an impact is the ultimate goal of Menara Ilmu. It was more than 2 decades ago that Unity Science Malaysia presented a comprehensive roadmap to shape a better future for the generations of tomorrow. We strive for change. We knew that we have to do something to create an impact in society, on the nation, and even to each and every one of you.
we ask ourselves, why should young people go to the university? Is there a need for a higher institution? Do we still matter in today's world? It soon dawned upon us that it is our duty to transform higher education for a sustainable future. Big as it sounds, it's a journey that we need to embark on. It's a journey that we must embrace. From humble beginnings, USM has flourished to become a sustainability-led university. As a pioneer of knowledge, we must prove to the society at large that we are relevant. We need to go beyond the boundaries and frontiers of knowledge. We have begun taking those small steps now, steps that will continue the journey. Aspiration, it is what makes us. We keep on going forward, establishing ideas for future generations, all in the name of sustainability. The journey is all about overcoming challenges, but this is not the end. There is more to come. There is more that we need to do. We owe the future as we move USM higher up to make an impact and finally reach the apex. Our obligation for a sustainable tomorrow thus continues.
Time for our next participant for today, Malik Tuba from School of Pharmaceutical Sciences, to share her findings about clinical, economic, and HR QOL implications of digital health integration. Malik, it's all you.
Take a look at the phone in your pocket. We use it to navigate traffic, to order food, and to stay connected with our loved ones. But in my PhD research, I'm exploring how that same device can be much more powerful, like a lifeline. I study what I call the two breaths. One is the tight, wheezing breath of an asthmatic patient, while other is the heavy, exhausting breath of the patients with heart failure. These are different diseases, but they share the same pattern. They quietly move patients toward hospital beds and emergency rooms, costing lives and costing healthcare system billions. And the tragedy is, none of these hospitalizations had to happen. Health doesn't fall overnight, it falls silently. It slides from one missed dose of medication, from the breathlessness that is ignored, or from the swelling that feels normal. In our current healthcare system, the clinicians only get to know about the patient when they ends up in hospital. That's reactive care, and it's dangerous for the people and for the economy. My research asks one simple question. What if we could stop the slide before it becomes a fall? And that's where the CareAid app comes in. CareAid is a mobile application which is integrated with an AI monitoring tool called the vCare portal. Together, they work as a safety net. As the patient lives their normal life, the app quietly collects the data like patient's medication use and symptoms. The AI doesn't look for perfection, it looks for a change. And when it drifts away from the patient's normal, like worsening symptom control or low medication adherence, it sends a signal. Not an alarm, but a signal. The signal is monitored by the healthcare professional who can intervene early by adjusting the medication, by reassurance, or by any other means. And that's how we save the patients from landing into the emergency room. The impact is what I call a triple win. Clinically, we move towards the preventive care rather than the reactive care. Economically, this is pharmacoeconomics in action. Every avoided hospital admission can save thousands of ringgits for the healthcare system. But most importantly, it is about the quality of life. It is about giving the grandfather with a heart failure confidence to play with their grandchildren. It's about giving confidence to the asthmatic patients to breathe without fear. We already live in a connected world. It's time to use this connection not just to communicate but to care. Because in 2026, the best tool a practitioner can prescribe to a patient is not just a pill. It's the safety net sitting right in their pocket.
A round of applause for Malik about that eye-opening talk. Next up, please join us in welcoming our next researcher, Muhammad Hasnun bin Mat Yusuf from Analytical Biochemistry Research Center to the stage to present about discovery of curry leaf polysaccharides as cardioprotective agents.
Every 30 seconds, someone in the world dies from cardiovascular-related disease. And the two of the biggest silent contributors are diabetes and hypertension. This condition not just raise number on a chart, they damage blood vessels, strain the heart, and quietly push people toward heart attacks and stroke. Today, we survive using synthetic drugs such as acarbose for diabetes and captopril for hypertension. They work, but at a cost. The long-term use often comes with side effects such as gastrointestinal discomfort, kidney stress, and reduced patient compliance. So, here's a big question. Can we find something safer, natural, but yet just as powerful? My research say yes. I'm turning to the something surprisingly familiar, which is curry leaf, not as a spice, but as a scientific resource. From curry leaf, I extracted polysaccharide, which is a complex natural sugar known for their biological potential. But I didn't stop there. Through chemical modification, I enhanced their structure, transforming them into a polysaccharide-based enzyme inhibitor. But why enzymes? Because diabetes and hypertension are driven by specific enzymes such as alpha amylase, alpha glucosidase, and angiotensin converting enzyme, which is ACE. And this enzyme will elevate blood glucose and blood pressure. So, in my work, these modified polysaccharides were tested against all three, and the results were striking. They showed strong inhibitory activity, effectively slowing sugar release, and regulating blood pressure pathway. So to ensure this wasn't just experimental luck, I verified this interaction at the molecular level, confirming that the polysaccharide bind precisely to the enzymes, just like synthetic drugs do. And here's the exciting part. When formulated, this natural inhibitor demonstrated comparable strength to the existing synthetic drugs, but with promise for better safety and sustainability. So what does this mean? It means a future where managing diabetes and hypertension doesn't rely solely on the harsh chemical, but can be supported by plant-based bioactive treatment agents. The cardiovascular protector may be closer than you think. My research transformed curry leaf from a kitchen ingredient into a potential cardiovascular protector. Thank you.
A round of applause for that eye-opening talk, Hasnun. Now, let's welcome to the stage our next participant, Ng Ni Yen from School of Pharmaceutical Sciences to showcase her research entitled Everyday Mistakes Preventable Harm. Knowing what to do is not equal to doing it safely.
Somewhere in Malaysia, a mother holds a syringe in one hand and her child in the other, trying to measure 5 milliliters of medicine. She is not a pharmacist or a nurse, yet every day caregivers like her are expected to get this exactly right. One small mistake can mean a child gets too little or too much. Here's the key point. Knowing what to do is not the same as being able to do it correctly. We asked a simple question. What actually goes wrong after the medicine leaves the clinic? To find out, we interviewed dozens of caregivers and surveyed 100 more about their everyday routines with liquid medicines. The results were clear. Errors are not random. When we surveyed caregivers, nearly 6 in 10 struggled with basic medication knowledge. Some mistakes come from unclear instructions, some from habits that develop over time, and others happen despite good intentions because life at home is messy. Importantly, unsafe practices persisted even among those who knew better, showing that knowledge didn't always translate into safe action. Because these mistakes follow patterns and they can be prevented. So we made something practical, an educational module including 18 short videos in Bahasa Melayu for caregivers. Each clip shows a single useful skill. For example, how to dose using standard dosing tools, to give an understanding of weight-based dosing, how to mix powdered medicine, what to do if a dose is vomited or missed, and how to store or dispose of medicine safely. We also debunk common myths like unnecessary refrigeration. We tested the content with healthcare professionals to make sure every step is safe and doable at home. To our knowledge, this is the first validated online Bahasa Melayu video guide for children's medication safety. Next, we will test the videos with caregivers and bring them into clinics, pharmacies, and children's ward. Because safer care shouldn't stop at the clinic door. Every child deserves medicine that helps, not harms at home. Thank you.
What an amazing presentation! Let's give it up for Yen. We wish you all the best for your research. Next up, let's give a warm welcome to our next participant, Nur Shamiza binti Abu Bakar from School of Dental Sciences and her research presentation about nano composite hydrogels for enhanced wound healing.
What if a small cut could change someone's life? A few years ago, while helping to care for a family member, I saw this happen. It started as a small cut on the foot, nothing alarming. But as days passed, it didn't heal. Instead, it became red, then swollen and infected. Clinic visits became routine. Dressings were changed again and again. That's when I began to realize something powerful. For elderly and diabetic patients, a simple cut is never just a cut. It can mean prolonged pain, limited mobility, and serious complications. That experience led me to ask, why do some cutaneous wounds refuse to heal? Can we design something smarter to help them? The truth is, cutaneous wounds heal best in a moist and balanced environment. But when bacteria invade, they disrupt everything. Inflammation increases, tissue repair slows down. Healing can stop completely. Think of it like repairing a damaged house. If intruders keep breaking the walls while you are rebuilding them, the house will never be restored. Most conventional dressings just simply cover the wound. Some keep it moist while others rely on antibiotics. But moisture and antibiotics alone cannot solve the problems. So we need something smarter. My PhD worked with a soft, jelly-like material called a hydrogel. Imagine this hydrogel as a protective cushion similar to the body's own tissue. Now, imagine embedding inside it the tiny metal-based nanoparticles, which are well known for their antibacterial strength. But there's a key question that I wonder. Does how we make them change how well they work? So I compared two methods. First, chemical synthesis. Second, green synthesis using plant-based reducing agents. What I found was powerful. Green synthesized nanoparticles performed just as effective in killing bacteria. They were evenly distributed, more stable, and more biocompatible. In simple terms, they fight bacteria strongly, but treat human cells gently. This allowed the hydrogel to act like a smart bodyguard for the skin, protecting against infection, maintaining moisture, and supporting natural tissue regeneration all at the same time. By combining green nanotechnology with biomaterial, we are developing sustainable wound care because when a wound heals faster, we don't just save tissue, we preserve mobility, independence, and sometimes a limb. And that is how my mission to reaching wound care is becoming mission possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Nur Shamiza. Her research explores plant tissue culture techniques and identification of triterpenes with neuroprotective potential, offering insights into Alzheimer's treatment. Coming up next, we have Nur Ashikin binti Muzaffar from School of Educational Studies ready to share her research about from memorizing biology to thinking like scientists. The floor's yours to own.
Imagine a biology classroom. Students can memorize facts, label diagram, and answer exam questions. But when asked to investigate like real scientists, many struggle. This is because traditional biology learning focuses heavily on content delivery, leaving little room for authentic scientific inquiry. As a result, students may know biology, but they do not experience biology. To address this problem, I developed BioVillage Pro, an inquiry-based biology module integrated with flipped classroom strategies. Before class, students explore key concepts through guided materials. During class, they engage in hands-on investigation, discussion, and problem-solving activities. This approach shifts learning from memorization to active scientific exploration. BioVillage Pro is not just a teaching ideas. It is a validated, integrated, and classroom-ready instructional module. The module combines scientific process skills, creativity, and inquiry into structured learning experiences aligned with a secondary biology curriculum. Most importantly, students become active learners. They investigate phenomena, think creatively, collaborate with peers, and present their scientific findings. In other words, they begin to think like scientists. BioVillage Pro demonstrates that scientific skill and creativity are not fixed abilities. They can be intentionally developed through well-designed learning environments. By transforming how biology is taught, the module deeper understanding, stronger scientific thinking, and more meaningful classroom experiences. From memorizing biology to thinking like scientists, BioVillage Pro makes the transformation possible. Thank you.
That was outstanding research. The study improves biology teaching by promoting authentic inquiry in student learning. It presents BioV Lab Pro, a flipped classroom module integrating scientific skills and creativity. The module is validated as reliable and ready for classroom use. Good luck! Please put your hands together for our next participant, Nurin Jaslina binti Nur Azmi from School of Dental Sciences, presenting her research entitled Can Salivary Proteins Reveal the Hidden Role of Trichomonas tenax in Periodontitis?
Periodontitis is not just a dental problem. It is a chronic inflammatory disease that destroys the tissues supporting our teeth, and it affects almost half of adults worldwide. In Malaysia, the situation is even more alarming, where 90% of adults show signs of periodontal disease. Traditionally, periodontitis has been linked to bacteria, but bacteria are not the only organisms living in our mouths. One lesser known organism is Trichomonas tenax, a protozoan of the oral cavity. Studies from other countries show that Trichomonas tenax is found more frequently in periodontitis patients than in healthy individuals. However, its presence in Malaysia is largely unexplored despite the high burden of periodontitis. So, my research asked two simple but important questions. Is Trichomonas tenax present among periodontitis patients in Malaysia? And if it is, does it change the protein profile of saliva? To answer these questions, I used a two-part approach. First, I detected Trichomonas tenax using microscopy, selective culture, and PCR, ensuring accurate identification. Second, I analyzed salivary proteins using label-free quantitative proteomics, or LFQ. This allows me to compare protein abundance between groups, revealing how the presence of Trichomonas tenax may influence the host's biological response. Now, think of periodontitis like a football match. The disease does not happen because of one star striker alone. It is a team effort. Bacteria may be the main attackers, but the host immune response, environmental factors, and possibly organisms like Trichomonas tenax all play supporting roles. And sometimes, it's these supporting players that decide the outcome of the game. My research explores whether Trichomonas tenax is one of those key supporting players, quietly influencing inflammation and tissue damage through changes in salivary proteins. Understanding this matters because periodontitis is multifactorial and effective prevention and treatment depend on understanding all contributors. Identifying Trichomonas tenax associated protein changes could open the door to new diagnostic markers, risk assessment tools, and personalized periodontal care. In short, if teamwork makes the dream work, then to truly tackle periodontitis, we must understand every player in the field, including the ones we have been ignoring. That's all from me. Thank you.
That was an unforgettable presentation by Nurin Jazlina. We are equally excited and hope for your research to succeed in the near future. Now, let's hear from our next brilliant mind, Nurul Najwa binti Ayub from School of Physics. Please welcome her as she presents her research about seeing inside the tropical cyclone.
Imagine this. You have just finished a wonderful holiday in Japan or the Philippines. You are sitting at the airport, coffee in hand, waiting to fly home. Then suddenly, delay. The announcement says a strong typhoon is approaching. You might wonder, don't meteorological agencies know there's a storm nearby? Yes, they do. In fact, they can already predict where the typhoon will go. But here's the problem. What caught them off guard is that the typhoon suddenly became much stronger than predicted. So, what exactly is a typhoon? Simply put, it is a giant rotating storm over the ocean with wind powerful enough to damage buildings, disrupt flight schedule, and threaten lives. We often underestimate their danger because they form far out at sea. But once they move closer, we feel the impact, such as delayed flight, cancelled plans, and unsafe journeys. This leads to a simple but critical question. Why can't we accurately predict how strong a typhoon will become even just a few hours ahead? Today, most meteorological agencies rely on visible satellite images. They estimate storm strength by looking at cloud pattern from space. But here's the catch. The real strength of typhoon comes from surface wind over the ocean, and that is completely hidden beneath thick cloud and heavy rain. So, what we see from above does not reflect what is happening below. This is where my research comes in. Instead of using visible satellite images, I use microwave signals from satellites. Microwave signals can penetrate cloud and rain. They don't just look at the storm, they sense the ocean surface beneath it. By doing this, we can directly measure the true wind speed and therefore the true strength of typhoon. This time, we are not just observing the storm from outside, we are looking inside it. In simple terms, microwave satellites allow us to see through the typhoon massive clouds, revealing what the human eye or normal satellite cannot, the hidden strength of typhoon. So, why does this matter? For scientists, this opens a new window to understand the internal dynamic of typhoon. For meteorological agencies, it means better tools and earlier, more reliable warnings. And most importantly, for you, it means safer travel, fewer unexpected delay, and better journey planning. Because when we see the storm clearly, we can make clearer decisions and have safer journeys. Thank you.
That was such an incredible study. All the best, Najwa. Now, let's move on to the next presenter from the School of Physics. Please welcome Obaseki Oluwatosin Samuel with his research titled From Titanium to Tomorrow, Building a Hydrogen Future with Sunlight. Without further ado, let's give a warm round of applause to Obaseki.
Every time we start a car, power a factory, or light up a city, we burn a little more of Earth's future. The air we breathe becomes a little less pure, not just for us, but for generations unborn. Imagine if we could reverse that. If we could turn sunlight, water, and something as ordinary as titanium into a clean fuel for the world. My research focuses on building a hydrogen future with sunlight using one of the planet's most abundant metals, titanium. When titanium is heated in air, it forms a thin layer of titanium dioxide, or TiO2, a stable oxide capable of capturing light and splitting water into hydrogen and oxygen. However, there is a problem. When sunlight strikes, the positive and negative charges generated often recombine almost instantly, losing their energy before any work can be done. It's like charging your phone only for the battery to be drained in seconds. So my work focuses on awakening TiO2, teaching it to use the sunlight it captures more effectively. I modify thermally oxidized TiO2 with other oxide semiconductors using a low-cost and simple process called atmospheric pressure chemical vapor deposition. This method allows me to engineer the surface and structure of the film at the nanoscale, creating tiny highways for these charges to travel faster and even further before they recombine. Under sunlight, these modified films behave differently. The interfaces between TiO2 and the modifying materials act like gates, pulling the negative and positive charges in opposite direction. This is a crucial step in preventing charge recombination. As a result of this, more of the sunlight is actually absorbed and used to split water, producing hydrogen and oxygen. When tested under sunlight, the modified films produce about 50% more hydrogen and remain stable for much longer period of time than ordinary TiO2. From titanium to tomorrow, it's not just a phrase. It's a story of how we can take something ordinary, shine a little light on it, and build a future powered by hope, science, and the sun.
Thank you for delivering such an impactful and inspiring talk about human activities that burn fuel are gradually harming the environment and future generations. The research explores producing clean hydrogen fuel using sunlight, water, and titanium. Next, let's give a warm welcome to Rabiatul Adawiyah binti Abdul Rahman from Pusat Cancer Tun Abdullah Ahmad Badawi. She will be sharing her research on cycling backward to move forward in diabetes care. Everyone, let's put our hands together for Rabiatul.
Did you know that Malaysia has the highest rate of diabetes in Southeast Asia? 1 in 2 adults in Malaysia leads a sedentary lifestyle. This is a major risk factor contributing to type 2 diabetes. Today, 1 in 6 Malaysian adults is living with diabetes. I'm sure many of you here know someone living with diabetes, a family member, a friend, or even a colleague. That's how common diabetes has become in Malaysia. Exercise is a cornerstone of diabetes management, but muscle fatigue, low fitness level, and fear of exhaustion often turn exercise into a barrier rather than a solution. When exercise feels painful or overwhelming, people stop, and without exercise, their health continues to decline. So, what if I could suggest one exercise that doesn't feel exhausting yet still brings health benefit? Now, let me introduce an alternative approach, eccentric cycling exercise. Most of us are familiar with conventional cycling, which pushes the pedals forward. Eccentric cycling works differently. The pedals are motor-driven, and instead of pushing, the person resists the backward movement of the pedals. This causes the muscle to lengthen while producing force, known as eccentric muscle work. Why does this matter? Because eccentric exercise allows muscle to generate high force at much lower energy cost, without putting strain on the heart. In simple terms, you gain more muscle work with less effort. In my pilot study, diabetic patients showed changes in blood glucose regulation and improvement of physical performance. Surprisingly, triglyceride level, a key marker of metabolic health, was significantly reduced following training. More importantly, the participant enjoyed the exercise and did not feel exhausted. Exercise can be enjoyable. This exciting approach has potential to improve long-term health outcomes, quality of life, and reduce diabetic complications. In short, my research challenged the traditional idea that exercise must be exhausted to be effective. It shifted the narrative from no pain, no gain to a more inclusive truth: progress without pain. Thank you.
Big applause for that incredible talk. Truly outstanding. It's time for our participant to take the stage. Please join me in welcoming Rizwan Johar from School of Dental Sciences to present his research about how do we eliminate bacteria that hide.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. I am Dr. Rizwan Johar, a presenter of 3 Minute Thesis presentation. Every year, millions of people undergo root canal treatment to save their teeth. However, despite advanced instruments and powerful disinfectants, some treatment still fails. Why? Because bacteria hide deep inside the tooth in microscopic spaces where conventional files, chemicals, or even antibiotic cannot reach fully. One bacteria is particularly problematic in endodontics, which is Enterococcus faecalis. Why? Because this bacteria survive in a harsh environment and it penetrates deeper inside the dentinal tubules and even form a very resistant biofilm. This makes it a leading cause of persistent root canal infection and retreatment failures. So the question becomes, how do we eliminate bacteria which hide where conventional disinfection techniques cannot reach? Photodynamic therapy is one of the options in which we use a light of a particular wavelength to activate an antibacterial dye. However, the traditional dyes are unstable. They degrade, lose activity, and fails to penetrate into the biofilm. As a result of this, the light-activated disinfections largely remain underutilized in routine endodontic practices. My PhD explores a smarter option in which I develop a novel light-activated disinfection system by stabilizing methylene blue, a well-known photosensitizer dye, with reduced graphene oxide nanoparticles and activate it with the laser and sonic energy. This combination helps the antibacterial dye to remain stable, penetrates deeper, and also create reactive oxygen species exactly where the bacteria are hiding. The results were clear. These techniques not only reduce the resistant bacterial load, but also minimize tooth discoloration and preserve the bonding strength of the root filling. In simple terms, we can disinfect better without damaging the tooth structure or compromising aesthetics. This research brings us closer to the safer, smarter, and predictable root canal treatment in which light and nanotechnology works together to save a tooth, not just today, but for a long term. Thank you so much, USM, for providing me this opportunity to present my thesis. Thank you.
What a great finding! This study enhances root canal disinfection by targeting bacteria deep within complex canal structures using a novel light-activated system. The approach improves bacterial elimination while reducing discoloration and preserving bonding strength for safer, more predictable outcomes. We wish you all the best! Moving right along, let's welcome our next participant, Von Kok Yin from School of Biological Sciences to present about biological control of German cockroach, Blatella germanica, using engineered Pseudomonas fluorescens. Von, the platform is yours to shine.
Imagine this. It's 2 a.m. and you see a cockroach running across the kitchen floor. What you don't see is that this cockroach is carrying thousands of bacteria inside its gut. Bacteria help it survive and also thrive in our homes. Cockroaches are linked to disease dissemination, yet we still fight them with the same weapon, chemical insecticides. These chemicals nonetheless destroy the environment, harm non-target species, and even fail as resistance builds. For my PhD, I thought of this. What if the real weakness of the cockroach is not outside its body, but inside it? Cockroaches depend on gut bacteria for digestion, immunity, and survival. Without them, cockroaches cannot survive function normally. However, we still perceive these bacteria as invisible. My project puts them into the spotlight. I studied the DNA of the bacteria inside the cockroach gut, searching for the genes that could interfere with the host fitness. Instead of asking which bacteria are present, I ask, what are they capable of doing? By decoding this microbiome using bioinformatic tools, I look for the genes that could produce toxins, interact with the host biology, or even interfere with the metabolism. These genes could be the new weapons, not chemicals, but biological tools. My long-term goal is bold, which is to genetically engineer these gut bacteria so that once introduced into the host, they quietly sabotage its essential life processes. Does the cockroach microbiome turn against it? Why does it matter? Because this strategy could redefine pest control. It is species-specific, self-sustaining, and at the same time, zero chemical fallouts. So let's say if we can control cockroaches using this strategy, we can also apply the same to other insect vectors. So just remember, next time when you see a cockroach running across your kitchen, the greatest ally may also be its greatest enemies. Thank you.
His presentation has enlightened us on analyzing the gut microbiome of the German cockroach using metagenomics to uncover its composition and functions. It aims to identify and engineer key microbial genes to disrupt host physiology as an innovative microbiome-based pest control strategy. A well-earned round of applause for that extraordinary presentation. Up next, let's hear from our next participant, Wan Nur Amira Ibrahim from School of Medical Sciences, as she presents her groundbreaking findings about seeing to move, how glaucoma affects safe navigation at home.
Good day. I would like everyone to close one eye and place your finger here, just like this. Now, imagine walking around your home like this with furniture everywhere. This is how many patients with glaucoma see. Let me introduce you to Auntie Anne. She is 65 years old and has been living with severe glaucoma for the past 15 years. Today, Auntie Anne is mostly housebound. She is afraid to go far outside her home. But even inside her own house, she often has near falls and bumps into furniture. She is no longer safer even in her own house. So the question is, how do we help her? Have you heard of glaucoma? Most people haven't. Glaucoma is a progressive disease characterized by gradual visual field loss, usually starting from the peripheral vision. So as the disease progresses, visual fields become smaller and smaller, leading to tunnel vision, and in advanced stage, functional blindness. This is why glaucoma is strongly associated with high rates of domestic injuries and falls, reduced quality of life, and increased dependency on others. Many studies have shown that patients with glaucoma face significant difficulties with navigation and mobility. While assistive technologies and low vision devices exist, they are often expensive, not easy to use, and not accessible to everyone. But perhaps a simple and affordable rehabilitation module could help patients move more safely at home and improve the way they navigate. Just imagine Auntie Anne. She is housebound, yet even her own home is no longer safe. So, before we can develop this module, we first need to understand how the eyes and head compensate when the visual field is constricted. To do this, I create a 20-meter structural mobility course that simulates walking at home by varying dominant contrast, distance between objects, and challenging areas such as stairs. Patients with mild, moderate, and severe glaucoma complete the same course while wearing a decubist eye tracking system, allowing me to measure eye scanning and head motion during navigation. So based on our findings, in severe glaucoma like Auntie Anne, eye movement become less effective. Head keeps moving everywhere while the eyes struggle to find objects. Because of this, patients move more slowly and more likely to bump into things. This compensation is often not enough. In short, eye-head movement behavior varies with glaucoma severity, and this variation directly affects safe navigation at home. So based on this finding, I am to develop a visual rehabilitation module and including eye-head compensatory strategies to help patients like Auntie Anne move safely and independently. Because for people with glaucoma, seeing is not just about vision, it is about living safely at home.
This study examines how obstacle luminance contrast affects eye-head movement and navigation behavior across different severity levels of glaucoma. Let's give her a big hand. Next, let us welcome our last participant, Zeb Shah from the School of Distance Education to the stage, who will be presenting his research on mathematical modeling and control analysis of dengue fever in Malaysia through time delay-based approaches. Zeb, the floor is yours.
A man in Malaysia feels fever and body pain. He thinks it is only normal flu and stays at home. After a few days, he goes to the hospital and is told he has dengue. During this waiting time, mosquitoes around his home can already spread the disease to others. This small time delay can change many lives. My PhD research focuses on this real life problem. Hello everyone, My name is Shazeb and I am doing PhD Mathematics under the supervision of Dr. Siti Anner, and my thesis title is Mathematical Modeling and Control Analysis of Dengue Fever in Malaysia through Time Delay Based Approaches. In simple words, the job of mathematical modeler is to take a real life problem and turn it into a mathematical system so that we can test different situations and support better decisions. In my research, I analyzed how dengue spreads between people and mosquitoes in Malaysia and how delays in diagnosis, treatment, and mosquito control change the outbreak behavior. First, I use overall dengue information and published data from Malaysia to understand the national situation. Then, I focus on specific hospital data from Penang General Hospital for 2022 and 2023. From this data, I carefully study the patterns and trends and use them to inform a mathematical framework that represent the local dengue situation. The key and new part of my research is not adding delays, but showing how the length of the delay itself changes the future number of dengue cases. Using data-informed analysis, I demonstrate how even a few days of late diagnosis or late mosquito control can shift the outbreak pattern in Malaysia. I study the situation both with and without delays, so the real impact of delayed actions can be clearly seen. At the same time, my work also considers sustainability. The goal is not to destroy the ecosystem. We aim to reduce dengue while keeping mosquito population at safe level so that environmental balance is not harmed. Dengue is a major public health problem in Malaysia, and every year the government spends millions of ringgits on dengue control programs. My research helps show how the better timing and better planning can improve the impact of these efforts. The conclusion of my research shows that fast, data-informed and environmentally responsible responses are essential for dengue control in Malaysia. Finally, University Science Malaysia is also number one in sustainability, and this is one of the main focus of my research.
Let's give a well-earned round of applause for that extraordinary presentation. Thank you, Zap, for sharing your valuable research with us. Your insights are truly inspiring, and we can all appreciate the dedication and hard work that went into all this study. Once again, a big round of applause for Zap. A big round of applause for all of our participants. Thank you for all the brilliant presentations. We will now take a short 5 minutes break while our judges deliberate on the results. We'll be back shortly to announce the outcome. But before we break, we would like to inform everyone that the voting session is now officially closed. Thank you for your participation and support.
Before we announce the winner, let's hear from our chief judge, technologist Dr. Nur Azalia Kamaruzzaman, who will share her thought and advice with our participants. Please join us in welcoming technologist Dr. Nur Azalia Kamaruzzaman to the stage.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good day to everyone. It is truly a pleasure to be here today at the USM 3 Minute Thesis competition, a platform inspired by the University of Queensland, Australia, that has grown into a global celebration of research excellence. What began as a single initiative is now embraced by over 900 universities across more than 85 countries, an inspiring testament to the importance of communicating research beyond academic boundaries. Today, we had the privilege of witnessing 42 outstanding participants from diverse fields, engineering and technology, social sciences, and the sciences, each stepping forward to share their work. In just 3 minutes, you have taken years of rigorous study, critical thinking, and discovery and transformed them into messages that are not only understandable, but meaningful to a wider audience. Now, this is no small feat. The true essence of the 3MT lies not only in simplifying complexity, but in making research resonate. It is about translating knowledge into impact, about ensuring that what we do in academia reaches, informs, and inspires society. And today, each of you has embodied that purpose. I must say, selecting winners was far from easy for us. The level of quality, creativity, and passion demonstrated by all participants made our deliberation incredibly challenging. Each presentation carried its own strength, its own story, and its own significance. Now, to all participants, what you have done today goes beyond competition. You have stepped out of your comfort zones, challenged yourselves, and embraced the courage to stand before an audience and share your ideas. That in itself is something to be truly proud of. Because this is what research is all about. Not just generating knowledge, but creating impact. Not just discovering answers, but communicating them. Not just advancing your field, but educating and inspiring others. You have reminded us that research is not confined to laboratories or journals. It lives through the stories we tell and the people we reach. I would also like to extend my sincere appreciation to my fellow judges, Dr. Marlina Jamal and Associate Professor Dr. Chia Yuen, for their valuable insights and thoughtful evaluation throughout this competition. And of course, our deepest gratitude goes to the IPS, the Dean, the Deputy Dean, and the entire IPS Secretariat team for their dedication, commitment, and excellent organization in making this event a success. To all participants, once again, thank you for your passion, your courage, and your willingness to push your limits. You have made USM incredibly proud. Let us continue to celebrate the power of ideas, the impact of research, and the importance of sharing knowledge with the world. Thank you.
Thank you, technologist Dr. Nur Azalia Kamaruzzaman, for those insightful comments. Who truly appreciate your guidance and feedback.
It's now time for the closing remarks, and I am thrilled to invite our honorable guest, Professor Dato Geologist Dr. Narimah Samad, Deputy Vice Chancellor of Academic and International Affairs of USM, to share her thoughts with us. Please join me in welcoming Professor Dato Dr. Narimah.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good morning. Distinguished guests, deans, directors, USM staff, and students, esteemed contestant of the University Science Malaysia 3 Minute Thesis Competition 2026. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of University Science Malaysia, it is my great honor and privilege to welcome all of you to the USM 3 Minute Thesis Competition 2026, an esteemed annual event organized by the Institute of Postgraduate Studies, USM. 3 Minute Thesis Competition is a global research communication competition that was first developed by the University of Queensland in 2008, and now it has gained worldwide recognition in over 18 countries, including Malaysia. This year proudly marks a decade of USM's active participation and organization of the 3 Minutes Thesis competition, reflecting our sustained dedication to these competitions at USM level. Over the past 3 years, USM has demonstrated outstanding performance in the 3 Minute Thesis competition at the national level. Over the last few years, our representatives, Baron Michael Kedum from the School of Educational Studies, emerged as the national level. Then, in 2024, Hamidah Muhammad Zain from Advanced Medical and Dental Institute won and went on to represent Malaysia at the 3 Minute Asia Pacific level. In 2022, Denny Hartanto Jarum, a doctoral of philosophy student from the School of Chemical Engineering, achieved the same honor. This accomplishment reflects USM's commitments to enhancing student competency and to appreciate the dedication, creativity, and scholarly contributions of our students who have invested immense effort in condensing years of research into a concise and impactful 3-minute presentation. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I sincerely hope this event will ignite the spirit of innovation and inspire our USM students to convey their research with clarity and confidence in just 3 minutes. Before the end of my remarks, I would like to express my deepest appreciation to the Institute of Postgraduate Studies, PTPM, and our esteemed panel of juries for their dedication and efforts in making this virtual event a success. To all the 3-minute thesis contestants, I extend my best wishes for success in today's competition. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and best wishes.
Thank you, Professor Dato Doctor, for that uplifting and inspiring speech. We truly appreciate your words and encouragement. Before we announce the winner, let's take a moment to recognize our special award, the People's Choice Award. This award is especially meaningful as it reflects the voice of our audience, celebrating the presenter who made the strongest impression on all of you through your votes.
Now, Najwa,
Yes, Adam?
the moment we have been waiting for, let's announce the winner for the Engineering and Technology category. In third place, we have Lee Pei Fang from the School of Mechanical Engineering. Congratulations. Taking second place, we have Nur Syafiqah binti Mat Zain from the School of Industrial Technology. Coming in first place for this category goes to Nur Asmiya binti Ishaq from the School of Industrial Technology.
Next, Adam, we move on to announce the winners for the Social Sciences category. In third place, we have Hale Hongok from the School of Management. In second place, we have Zhu Niao from the School of Arts. Now for the first place goes to
Farhana Intan from the Graduate School of Business.
We have now reached the final category. Let's announce the winners for the Sciences category. In third place, we have Wanur Amirah Ibrahim from the School of Medical Sciences. In second place, we have Malik Tuba from the School of Pharmaceutical Sciences. And in first place, can we have a drum roll? The winner is...
Fazalda bin Anwar from the School of Medical Sciences. Congratulations once again to all the winners.
We wish you the very best in your continued research efforts. As we come to the end of this wonderful ceremony, I'm Adam.
And I'm Najwa.
We would like to extend our heartfelt thanks to each of you for dedicating your time to join us this morning. On behalf of the organizing committee, we would like to express our deepest appreciation to everyone who has supported and helped in making this event a success.
A special thanks to our participants, judges, schools, Institute of Postgraduate Studies IPS, Center for Instructional Technology and Multimedia PTPM, and all those behind the scenes who made today possible. Thank you once again. We hope to see you all again next year.
Stay safe and keep inspiring. Love and best wishes to all. Bye-bye.